After a long period of the declining frequency of war, we're likely to be fighting more wars in the coming years as the post-Second World War consensus breaks down and global challenges like climate change, migration, and the technological revolution proceed apace and remain unaddressed. At the time of writing, we are amid a war in Europe, the first since 1945, which has 4 of the 5 main nuclear powers involved. Geopolitical tension in the Far East, not least over China, Taiwan, and the South China Sea, is here to stay. The Middle East and the Sahel region of Africa are highly unstable and becoming more so. The world has not looked this chaotic for decades. How to Fight a War was written as a reference guide for the commander-in-chief of a nation's military. In an age of inevitable and more frequent wars, our leaders must have the strategic, operational, and tactical skills to prosecute wars successfully. The ability to do so means that we may arrive at durable strategic answers to the pressing geopolitical questions of the day quicker and more efficiently than might otherwise be the case. This makes me sound like a warmonger, which I most certainly am not, having experienced war firsthand. Successfully prosecuting a war is far better than fighting one that drags on without delivering its intended geopolitical outcomes, with the concomitant needless wasting of soldiers and civilians' lives, and widespread death and destruction. Are there any overall insights about war that you, the leader, must grasp beyond its rooting in human psychology? The first key lesson is that war is political. In a famous encapsulation, war is simply politics by other means. Very often, you will see war on the one hand and politics and diplomacy on the other, discussed as if they were discrete spheres of activity with only the narrowest of connections between them. War is a subset of politics. It's how humans conduct politics when they have failed to reach a decision through talking. It is, some have called it, armed politics. If war is politics by other means, if it is what we do when we run out of things to say, then the violence in war is a method of communication. At first glance, this seems abhorrent or crazy. Indeed, when discussing war with people with no military background, they think that I have lost the plot. But it is a logical deduction from the underlying principle that war is a political act. If you do not believe me now, you may do so by the time you get to the end of the book. Violence as communication functions in a tactical manner. If there are enemy troops occupying a hilltop that you wish to seize, you can ask them to leave. If you're in a fighting war and those soldiers are well supplied and maintain high morale, they are likely to demur. What other mechanisms do you have at your disposal to underscore the point that you really want them to vacate the hilltop? You will soon resort to lethal violence, where you set out to kill the enemy. In doing so, you're saying, I really want that hilltop, and if you don't surrender or abandon the position, you will be killed. Lethal violence is simply communication that your adversary cannot ignore. Violence as communication is also true in a deeper strategic sense. We can see this when a state launches a single attack, a missile or an airstrike on a chemical weapons research facility at another country. The likelihood is that this attack would not happen in isolation. There would have been a long series of discussions and statements between the countries trying to convince the attacked country to do something or not do something. In this example, not to continue its chemical weapons research. Here, the missile attack is used to underscore the point. We really want you to stop chemical weapons research, rather than as a way of halting production. And if war is politics by other means, then the distinctions of war versus peace are not as sharp as we might think. Very often in popular discourse, war and peace are presented as binary opposites, as different states of being, with one being inherently bad and the other inherently